The dancing flames were tugged by a gentle breeze, their cracking and sizzling sound echoing through the air. In the middle of the forest, a naked man sat on the ground, the air thick with the smell of burning flesh, surrounded by the charred remains of the dead. As a few tears trickled down his cheeks, he slowly lifted his head, and his eyes shone with a warm amber light. The pounding in his chest was so strong that he could feel the warmth spreading through his veins. With each heavy breath, fiery sparks leaped and danced across his body, bursting into flames. The man screamed, and a sizzling, crackling, lava like spiderweb network began spreading across his skin. He was overcome with a surge of emotions and the weight of the thousand memories as he gazed upon the still form, the air thick with unspoken grief. A loud crack erupted as his fingers contorted, transforming into razor sharp claws, the veins within them glowing with the intensity of liquid fire. A beastly roar ripped from his throat, a dangerous hiss preceding the burst of flames that consumed the area. His heart was filled with pain and rage, which intensified with hatred towards humans. Memories flooded him in that moment, pulling him back to the past. The man walked through the corridors where the dust swirled in the dimmed light, a silent, ghostly ballet. Earthy notes swirled in the air, a scent picked by his nose as water dripped from the pipes above. A melodic whistling echoed as the breeze pushed through the area, carrying with it a woman's desperate cries for mercy. As the man walked, he noticed the light flickering, humming and buzzing in response to his movements. A loud crack echoed as his fingers became obsidian claws, the veins of lava within them emitting a fiery glow. In that moment, his clothes burst into flames, and a smell of burning fabric filled the air as they melted and fell to the floor. In the air, the smoke billowed, its ominous shadow darkening everything in its wake. All that was visible in the darkness were the amber-hued eyes reflecting the dim light along with the beast's low growl. As he approached the metal door, he pressed his clawed hands against it, hearing a sizzling sound as it started heating up and within a few moments melted down, creating a passage. Fueled by the desperate cries of a woman, he rushed forward, his heart twisting with a mixture of pain and anger. The guards raised their weapons and shouted, their voices echoing through the halls as they noticed him and tried to stop him. His eyes flashed with overwhelming power in that moment, and the assault rifles disintegrated in a matter of seconds, making the soldiers cry out in pain. He growled, claws flashing as he tore them apart, the smell of blood filling the air. As the crimson liquid splashed, the metallics and mixed with the earthy smell of the ground. Hellhound is here! Yelled someone. More soldiers emerged, and as the beast watched the lab coat wearing man bolt down the corridor, with echoing sounds of the footsteps filling the air, his lips parted in a snarl, and a low growl escaped, accompanied by the glint of his fangs. As the flames danced around him, creating a mystical aura, the blood dripped from his claws with a soft plop, while his skin burned. You have something that belongs to me, growled the Hellhound. He shifted his fingers, feeling the warm, sticky blood trickle down as he watched the soldiers, weapons ready, prepare to fire. With a flick of his wrist, he melted the metal, the screams of those ablaze, echoing in a sudden inferno. With each scream, their burning skin filled the air with a biting, acidic smell and the metallic tang of blood. The Hellhound marched onwards, fueled by his power, incinerating obstacles with a supernatural fire, leaving behind only ashes and a stench of destruction. He walked by the melted weapons, the smell of burnt flesh mingling with the metallic scent of blood as his enemies died in agony. Bodies scorched and limbs twisted, crimson liquid spluttered across the walls and floor. The screams bounced off the walls of the corridor, and the woman's frantic pleas were barely audible. The hellhound growled, the sound echoing in his chest as the voice begged, and he felt the fire in his veins intensify. Within moments, he reached the spacious room filled with medical equipment, where he saw a doctor ready with a syringe containing an unsettling, murky liquid. His widened eyes were fixed on the flaming human, whose body was marked with the veins that resembled hot lava. From the beast's lips, a low growl rumbled, showcasing its sharp fangs. The hellhound's gaze was fixed on the woman chained to the cold metal bed. Her white dress was soaked in a mixture of blood and sweat. The sight of her made his eternal fire flicker, and the room was filled with the smell of burning wires and the crackle of sparks from the broken medical equipment. With a shuddering sound, the doctor dropped the syringe, and he retreated, his gaze fixed on the supernatural creature, realizing its fate. I, uh, I didn't do it. I tried to help her. I swear, yelled the doctor. He watched as the hellhound, its growl echoing, slowly approached the metal table where the woman was tied, its claws scraping against the metal as it tore through the leather strains. As she looked at him, a weary smile graced her face, and when she leaned in to pick her up, his warming flames enveloped her, offering a sense of protection. She rested her hand on his chest, feeling the rhythm of his heart, a steady beat that brought her a sense of safety. Suddenly, a wince of pain escaped her lips, and as she arched her back, forcing the beast to kneel on the floor while still holding her, trying to prevent her from falling. May, what's happening? Whispered the hellhound. Fear was etched on his face as he watched blood, thick and red, drip slowly from her chin, tracing a path down her nose. In that moment, his energy reached out towards her, detecting the scent of fear and weakness lingering from the experiments. His heart squeezed with pain, and a fire of anger began to burn within him. May, stay with me, love. Stay with me. Scott, I muttered May. As he gently touched her cheek, his tears fell, and he felt his claws retract into fingers, fearing he might hurt her. Feeling her pain, he pressed his forehead against hers, deaf to the doctor's protests. As the man slowly backed away, fear etched on his face, knowing he had to flee. Shh, it's okay. I'm here now, spoke Scott softly. She winced in pain, and a few droplets of sweat slid down her shivering body as the flames, flickering light, gently swayed around them. He caught a glimpse of her arms, and the sight of bruises and dark veins, evidence of the toxins injected during the experiments, made him flinch. A thin line formed on Scott's lips as the anger began to boil in his stomach. The others? Whispered May. He blinked a few times, fighting back the tears that threatened to spill as he heard her fragile voice. As she brushed her trembling hand over his cheek, she could feel the heat radiating from his skin. In his mind, he remembered every person he rescued. The images of their faces burned into his memory, and that despite his efforts, many of them died, their last breaths filled with the pain from the experiments. Some of them are gone. Um, I'm sorry, spoke Scott with sadness in his voice. Knowing how much she loved the other supernatural creatures, his heart crumbled, the pieces dissolving into sorrow. The pain in her eyes was sharp, etched, and made him want to hunt down those who caused the suffering. Trying to calm her down, her rapid breaths, she offered a weak smile. You tried, muttered May. Her breaths were raspy, and each wince was a stab of pain that made her weaker, her skin paler than before. He sensed her powers were unstable, the energy churning within her building a palpable pressure. As she attempted to move, the discomfort on her face was clear, but his arms, wrapped around her, created a warm haven, protecting her bare feet from the cold. Scott, you need to release your magic, May. You're too weak to hold it like this. It it will kill you, my love, spoke Scott with worry in his voice. He watched her wince in pain, a sharp intake of breath escaping her lips as she adjusted in his arms. His flames danced gently, attempting to comfort her as she rested in his embrace. May, you have to. I I can't, whispered May. She saw how much he was hurting as she stared into his amber eyes, which were filled with unspoken pain. A multitude of whispers clapped and screamed from the other world, swirling into her mind with the surge of energy within her. Clutching her head with her trembling hands, a silent cry escaped her lips, praying for the pain to subside. Out of nowhere, the soldiers invaded the room, their weapons clanking, while the Hellhound, sensing danger, lifted its head and fixed its menacing gaze on them. A growl escaped him, and as he pulled her close, his arms a fortress around her and sought to protect her. His flames leaped into an angry dance, causing the ground to become unbearably hot. Soon the doctor's hands rose, a silent command in an attempt to prevent the bloodshed. Let them, commanded the doctor. He saw her wince, and the hellhound, sensing her distress, cradled her close, murmuring soothing sounds as she visibly weakened. Scott slowly pressed his forehead against her and then kissed her, the soft touch of her skin a contrast to the warm tears streaming down his face. Her arm slowly fell, and the doctor observed the dark veins that were beginning to crawl over her pale skin. A heavy sigh escaped his lips. She's gone. His heart shattered into a million pieces, and the hellhound let out a soft whimper, his fingers tracing the cold skin of his lover in front of the soldiers. The spider web like network of lava veins on his body flickered as his flames dimmed, casting eerie shadows. With a tight line for a mouth, he rose from the floor, carefully holding the woman. Scott's glare burned within a fury as he heard the doctor's words cutting through the air, ordering the soldiers to stand down. This is not over, hissed Scott. His movements were fueled by anger, but grief was still gently smothering the fire within him. The shattered hopes for the future weighed heavily on his mind as he slowly navigated the corridor, the body's weight a physical burden. A few tears fell onto the cold floor, leaving a burning trail. The thought of losing the love of his life was the only thing clouding his mind.